The Bible tells us that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and that those who keep His commandments will have a good understanding. How can we know who our Creator really is? He has given us an unchanging sign, the seventh-day Sabbath. That is the identifying sign that theologians and the scholars who believe them will never be able to associate with Sunday gods, no matter how hard they try. Here we see that the Catholic Church teaches that the obligation to rest on the Sabbath has been replaced with the obligation to rest on Sunday. The Catechism states that the formula regarding the fourth commandment is remember to keep holy the Lord's Day. This particular Roman Catholic belief can be traced directly to a decree issued in 321 AD by the Roman Emperor Constantine, when he commanded that all judges and city people and craftsmen shall rest on the venerable day of the sun. In 363, the Synod of Laodicea made it official. It decrees that Christians must not Judaize by resting on the Sabbath, but must work on that day, rather honoring the Lord's Day, and if they can, resting as Christians. But if any shall be found to be Judaizers, let them be anathema from Christ. By the year 381, almost 70 years since Constantine's soldiers had placed the sign of the cross on their shields, paganism was still being practiced side by side with Christianity, making it hard to tell the difference between the two. According to Edward Gibbon, in his historical account of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, paganism was still the constitutional religion of the Senate.
The hall or temple in which they assembled was adorned by the statue and altar of Victory, a majestic female standing on a globe with flowing garments, expanded wings, and a crown of laurel in her outstretched hand. The senators were sworn on the altar of the goddess to observe the laws of the emperor and of the empire, and a solemn offering of wine and incense was the ordinary prelude of their public deliberations. The emperor yet spared the statues of the gods which were exposed to the public veneration. 424 temples or chapels still remained to satisfy the devotion of the people, and in every quarter of Rome the delicacy of the Christians was offended by the fumes of idolatrous sacrifice.
We know from history that Theodosius, the Christian emperor, decided to do something about it. According to Gibbon, in a full meeting of the Senate, the emperor proposed, according to the forms of the Republic, the important question of whether the worship of Jupiter or that of Christ should be the religion of the Romans. Under pressure from Theodosius, Jupiter was condemned and the members of the Senate suddenly became Christians. Christianity became the state religion of the Roman Empire, thereby firmly establishing the authority of the Roman Catholic Church. Laws of the Christian Roman Empire that was established by Theodosius are recorded in a document known as the Theodosian Code. That code states that on the Lord's Day, which is the first day of the week, on Christmas, and the days of Epiphany, Easter, and Pentecost, believers are to be occupied with the worship of God. Those who follow this law, we command, shall be comprised under the name of Catholic Christians, but others indeed we require as insane and raving, to bear the infamy of heretical teaching. Their gathering shall not receive the name of churches. They are to be smitten first with the divine judgment, and after that by the vengeance of our indignation. Before we move on, I'd like to make one thing very clear. It was not the Catholic Church that taught me to disregard the fourth commandment. It was the Protestant Church. Scores of books have been written documenting the Catholic Church's involvement with substituting Sunday in place of the seventh-day Sabbath. They don't deny it. They say that the Church has the authority to make that change, and they're proud of it. Catholic theologians are honest about it. It's the Protestant theologians who are in denial. The majority of the Protestant reformers did nothing to address the substitution of Sunday in place of the Sabbath, and Protestant theologians are ashamed to admit it. Most will do almost anything to avoid an honest and in-depth discussion about rest on the seventh day. Most attempt to change the subject to Sunday worship as fast as they can. The inventions of theologians are no challenge for Zeitgeist. That is why they focus on tradition rather than what the Bible really says. For over and over again, archaeological findings have proven the Bible to be an extremely accurate record of historical events. In conclusion, it must be said that Zeitgeist is right about many things when challenging the traditions of the theologians. According to the biblical record, they are dead wrong about Jesus.
There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
About 20 years ago, I found out that many of the things I'd been taught in church for most of my life were not based on what the Bible teaches, but rather on traditions that were gradually developed over the past 2,000 years. Doctrine based on the traditions of men that the Bible actually warns us about.
Time is the ally of deceit. Travel through time with Richard Reeves by way of a revealing study series that unravels the master plan to usurp the authority of the Creator. What did the first century Christians actually believe? What was the role of the emperors who ruled the world?
The emperor was actually a pagan priest, a priest of Baal. Elijah had confronted and killed the priest of Baal, and now once again in New Testament times we find a priest of Baal ruling the Roman Empire.
For centuries and millennia, the age-old deception intensifies as confusion takes its hold on mankind.
We have an adversary who cares not whether we call paganism Christianity or if we reject Christ altogether. Anything but the worship of our Creator in spirit and in truth.
Time is the Ally of Deceit, the book and 5 one-hour DVDs now available from Partakers Publications. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going.